Welcome to Coins News Daily. Today we're talking about the most valuable rare Lincoln 1-cent pennies in the United States of America that could turn your pocket change into a fortune. Some of these tiny coins have sold for thousands, even hundreds of thousands of dollars. You might have one sitting in your jar right now without even knowing it. Make sure you watch until the end because one of these pennies could completely change your life. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Drop a comment below and tell me which rare penny you have. Thanks with love for watching. Top 1. Today we are diving into one of the most talked about modern Lincoln cents in American coin collecting history. A coin that looks simple. A coin that many people may have passed through their hands without a second thought. But a coin that, in the right condition and with the right characteristics, can be worth far more than 1 cent. Get comfortable, because this is the fascinating story of the 1962 Lincoln 1-cent penny. The year 1962 was a powerful moment in American history. The United States was in the middle of the Cold War. The space race was heating up. John F. Kennedy was president. And while history was being written in politics and science, something much smaller was being produced by the millions at the Denver Mint. The 1962 Lincoln cent. At first glance, this coin seems ordinary. On the front, you see Abraham Lincoln's familiar profile, designed by Victor David Brenner. Above his head is the word Liberty. To the right is the date 1962, followed by the small but important letter D, representing the Denver Mint. On the back, you see the Lincoln Memorial, introduced in 1959 to celebrate Lincoln's 150th birthday. Inside the memorial, if you look closely, you can even see the tiny seated statue of Lincoln. This design remained until 2008, making it one of the longest-running reverse designs in U.S. coin history. So why is the 1962 penny so special? The truth is, most 1962 pennies are common. The Denver Mint struck hundreds of millions of them. They were made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. They circulated heavily. You can still find worn examples in pocket change, coin jars, and old piggy banks, but here is where things become interesting. In coin collecting, condition is everything. A coin that has been heavily circulated might be worth only face value. But a coin that was preserved in pristine condition, never used in commerce, can be worth dramatically more. The 1962 Lincoln cent is famous among collectors for its stunning red uncirculated examples. When copper coins are freshly minted, they shine with a bright red luster. Over time, exposure to air causes oxidation, turning them brown. Collectors classify copper cents as brown, or red. A fully red example, especially in high mint state grades like MS66 or MS67, becomes highly desirable. Now imagine this. A 1962 penny, stored carefully for decades, never touched by human oils, never scratched, never dulled. Its surface is glowing with fiery red brilliance. It strikes sharp and bold. These are the coins that make collectors excited, but condition is only part of the story. There are also errors and varieties that make certain 1962 pennies extremely collectible. One of the most talked about is the repunched mint mark variety. During this era, mint marks were punched into the die by hand. That means a worker physically stamped the letter D onto the die before coins were struck. If the mint mark was not aligned properly and was punched again, it could create a repunched mint mark. Under magnification, collectors may see a shadow or doubling around the D. These small details can transform an ordinary penny into a prized collectible. Another factor is strike quality. Some 1962 cents show weak strikes, especially in the details of Lincoln's hair or the steps of the memorial. But when you find one with exceptionally sharp detail, it stands out. Collectors pay attention to tiny features like the separation of Lincoln's hair strands and the clarity of the memorial columns. Let's talk about rarity in high grade. While millions were minted, very few survive in superb gem condition. Coins graded MS67 red by professional grading services are scarce. At this level, even the smallest mark can prevent a coin from reaching that grade. That is why population reports from grading companies show limited numbers at the very top. and this is where value becomes exciting. Collectors are always hunting for upgrade coins. Registry set competitors want the finest known examples. When a top-grade 1962D Lincoln cent appears at auction, bidding can become intense. Two collectors competing for the same top pop coin can drive prices much higher than expected, but before you run to check your change jar, remember this. Most 1962D pennies in circulated condition are only worth face value. The real money is in exceptional condition or confirmed varieties. This is why coin grading is so important. Professional grading services authenticate the coin, assign a grade, and encapsulate it in a protective holder. This gives buyers confidence. In today's market, certified coins often bring higher prices than raw coins because authenticity and condition are guaranteed. The beauty of the 1962D penny is that it represents opportunity. It reminds us that even modern coins can become valuable with time, preservation, and rarity. It encourages collectors to look closely, to study details, to appreciate craftsmanship. Imagine holding a tiny piece of copper that has survived over 60 years. Think about the history it has witnessed, the economic changes, the cultural revolutions, the countless hands it may have passed through. Or perhaps it sat quietly in a roll, waiting to be discovered decades later. Coin collecting is not just about money. It is about history, art, patience, knowledge. The thrill of the hunt. Now let us talk real numbers. In circulated condition, a 1962D Lincoln cent is generally worth 1 cent. In uncirculated mint state 63 red condition, examples typically sell for around $10 to $15. In MS65 red condition, market prices often range between $25 and $40. In MS66 red condition, values commonly range from $75 to $150 depending on eye appeal. In MS67 red condition, auction results have reached between $1,500 and $2,500. Exceptional top population examples have brought over $3,000 at major auctions. If a strong repunched mint mark variety is confirmed in high mint state red condition, values can exceed several $100s, and in superb gem grades can surpass $1,000 depending on demand and auction competition. These are real market ranges based on collector demand and public auction records. So the next time you see a simple 1962D penny, do not dismiss it. Look at the color. Examine the mint mark. Check the details. Because hidden among millions of ordinary coins could be a small copper treasure waiting to surprise you. If you love coins, if you love history, if you love the excitement of discovering something rare in the most unexpected place, then keep searching. Keep learning. And most importantly, keep collecting. Top 2. We are going deep into one of the most talked about coins in American pocket change history, a coin that millions of people have touched, spent, ignored, and maybe even thrown into jars without ever realizing what it could be worth. Yes, we are talking about the United States Lincoln 1-cent penny, and more specifically the 1964D mint mark Lincoln cent. This small copper coin might look ordinary, but under the right conditions it can turn into a collector's dream and in rare cases a surprisingly valuable treasure. So sit back, relax, and listen very carefully, because by the end of this video you might look at every penny in your home very differently. The Lincoln cent was first introduced in 1909 to honor President Abraham Lincoln. By 1964, the design featuring Lincoln's portrait on the front and the Lincoln Memorial on the back had already become one of the most recognizable coin designs in the world. In 1964, the Denver Mint produced Lincoln cents with the small letter D below the date, indicating they were struck in Denver. Now here is where it gets interesting. The year 1964 was a time of major change in United States coinage. Silver coins were disappearing from circulation, people were hoarding coins, and mints were under pressure to produce huge numbers to keep up with demand. The Denver Mint struck billions of 1964D Lincoln cents. That sounds common, right? And yes, in circulated condition, most 1964D pennies are worth only face value, but this is where collectors need to listen very carefully. While the mintage was extremely high, condition and errors are everything. A regular worn 1964D penny that has been in circulation for decades might only be worth 1 cent. However, a high-grade uncirculated 1964D penny with strong red luster, sharp details, and no contact marks can be worth significantly more to collectors. Coins are graded on a scale, and when we talk about mint state coins, especially those graded MS65, MS66, or higher, the price can increase dramatically. The difference between a coin found in pocket change and one preserved in pristine condition can mean the difference between 1 cent and hundreds of dollars, but that is not all. One of the biggest reasons the 1964D Lincoln cent becomes valuable is because of rare error varieties. Error coins are created when something goes wrong during the minting process. These mistakes are not supposed to happen, which makes them rare and highly desirable. For example, there are repunched mint mark varieties on some 1964D pennies. In earlier years, mint marks were punched by hand into the die. Sometimes the mint mark was punched more than once in slightly different positions. This creates a visible doubling of the D mint mark. To the trained eye, this small detail can turn an ordinary coin into a valuable collectible. Another variety collectors search for is double die errors. A double die occurs when the die itself receives a doubled image during its creation. This results in noticeable doubling on letters or numbers. On some 1964D cents, slight doubling can be seen in the date or lettering. Strong double die examples are rare and highly sought after. Then there are off-center strikes, where the coin is not properly aligned when struck, creating a design that is partially missing. The more dramatic and visually striking the error, the more collectors are willing to pay. Clipped planchets are another fascinating error. This happens when the metal blank is improperly cut, leaving a curved missing section on the coin. These mint errors are genuine mistakes from the mint and can bring strong premiums. Now let us talk about composition. The 1964D Lincoln cent is made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. This was before the composition change in 1982 when cents became primarily zinc. Many collectors love these earlier copper coins because of their weight, color, and historical significance. There have also been rumors and stories over the years about rare transitional errors or unusual compositions. While extremely rare and often misunderstood, any verified wrong planchet strike from 1964 would be considered extraordinary and could command very high interest in the market. Condition is the true king when it comes to the 1964D penny. Coins with full red color, known as red designation by grading services, are far more valuable than those that have turned brown over time. A bright, fully red 1964D penny in superb gem condition can sell for impressive prices at auction. Now let us talk about real market prices and auction results. In circulated condition, most 1964D Lincoln cents are worth 1 cent to a few cents. In uncirculated condition with strong red luster, examples graded around MS65 have sold for around $20 to $50 depending on eye appeal. Higher grade examples such as MS66 red have brought around $100 to $300 at auction. Superb gem examples graded MS67 red have sold for around $1,000 or more in strong auctions. Rare error varieties such as significant repunched mint marks or dramatic double dies can range from $100 to several $1,000s depending on strength and condition. Major off-center strikes or exceptional mint errors from 1964D have reached prices between $500 and several $1,000s depending on visual impact and preservation. So what should you do right now? Go check your coin jars. Look through old piggy banks. Ask your grandparents if they have old rolls of pennies stored away. When you find a 1964D penny, do not just glance at it. Examine the mint mark closely. Look at the date. Check for doubling. Inspect the color. Is it bright red or dark brown? Does it have sharp details or is it worn smooth? Use a magnifying glass. Take your time. Coin collecting is about patience and knowledge. The more you learn, the more valuable your discoveries can become. The beauty of the 1964D Lincoln cent is that it reminds us that treasure can hide in plain sight. Billions were made, yet only a tiny fraction in top condition or with rare errors holds serious value. That is what makes the hunt so exciting. For collectors, this coin represents history, artistry, and the thrill of discovery. For beginners, it is the perfect reminder that you do not need gold or silver to start a collection. Even a humble penny can carry a story worth thousands. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the 1964 Lincoln cent, make sure you stay tuned for more rare coin discoveries. And remember, every coin you hold could be more than just spare change. It could be a hidden piece of American history waiting to be uncovered. Top 3. We are diving deep into one of the most mysterious and talked about modern American coins ever discussed in the hobby, the 1974 Lincoln 1 cent with no mint mark. This tiny copper coin might look ordinary at first glance. It's small. It's brown. It has Abraham Lincoln's familiar profile. But hidden behind this everyday appearance is a story that collectors still debate, search for, and sometimes misunderstand. Before we go further, take a second and imagine this. A coin worth just 1 cent, sitting in a jar, a drawer, or even your pocket change, that could actually be worth far more to the right collector. That possibility is what keeps coin hunters searching. That excitement is what makes numismatics so addictive. Let's slow down and really understand what we're talking about. In 1974, the United States Mint was producing Lincoln cents primarily in copper. These coins were made of 95% copper and 5% zinc. Billions were struck. The Philadelphia Mint produced the majority, and coins from Philadelphia at that time did not carry a mint mark. That means if you see a 1974 penny with no letter under the date, that does not automatically make it rare. It simply means it was struck in Philadelphia, and this is where many people get confused. A regular 1974 Lincoln cent with no mint mark is extremely common. You can find them everywhere. They were made in massive quantities. In circulated condition, they are worth face value. Even in uncirculated condition, most examples are only worth a small premium to collectors. So why are we talking about it? Because within this year, there are specific varieties, errors, and condition rarities that can dramatically increase value. And there is one legendary story that makes 1974 cents fascinating to collectors worldwide. First, let's talk about condition. Coin grading plays a huge role in value. A worn 1974 no mint mark penny that has scratches, discoloration, or heavy circulation marks will not command much attention. But a sharply struck, full red, blazing mint state example with no spots and strong luster can be far more desirable. High-grade coin certified in top condition by professional grading services can bring strong premiums because collectors building registry sets compete for the finest known examples. Now let's talk about varieties and errors. In 1974, there are known double die varieties. A double die occurs during the die creation process when the design is impressed more than once at slightly different angles, causing noticeable doubling in the letters or numbers. On certain 1974 cents, you can see doubling on the date or inscriptions such as Liberty or In God We Trust. These are not machine doubling effects. True double dies show clear separation and are highly collectible. There are also off-center strikes, clipped planchets, and other mint errors from 1974. Off-center coins show part of the design missing because the blank was not properly aligned during striking. The more dramatic the off-center strike, while still showing the full date, the more desirable it becomes. Clipped planchets have a curved or straight missing portion from the edge due to a cutting error at the mint. These unusual shapes immediately catch the eye of collectors, but now we move into the part that truly fuels excitement. In the early 1970s, copper prices were rising sharply. The intrinsic metal value of cents was becoming a concern. The mint experimented with alternative compositions to reduce costs. In 1974, there were experimental aluminum cents struck as test pieces. These coins were never officially released for circulation. Almost all were destroyed. However, a small number are believed to have survived outside official channels. The 1974 aluminum Lincoln cent is one of the most legendary modern rarities in American coinage. These coins look different from normal copper cents. They are much lighter in weight and have a distinct appearance. Only a few examples are known to exist in private hands, and their legal status has been debated for years. Now imagine finding a 1974 cent that doesn't look like copper. That possibility alone keeps collectors checking their change, but here is something important. The aluminum 1974 cents were struck in Philadelphia and do not carry a mint mark. That means technically, they are 1974 no mint mark cents. However, they are not regular circulation coins. They are experimental pieces of extreme rarity. For the everyday collector watching this, what should you look for? First, check the weight. A normal 1974 copper cent weighs about 3.11 grams. An aluminum version weighs significantly less, around 0.9 grams. If you ever encounter a 1974 cent that feels unusually light, do not damage it. Have it examined professionally. Second, examine for strong double die characteristics. Use magnification. Look at the date closely. Look at Liberty. Look at In God We Trust. True doubling will show clear separation, not just flat, shelf-like distortion. Third, inspect overall condition. A sharply detailed coin with blazing original red color can bring substantial premiums compared to dull brown examples. Now let's talk real numbers, because that is what everyone wants to know. A typical circulated 1974 Lincoln cent with no mint mark is worth 1 cent. A bright uncirculated example in lower mint state grades can sell for a few dollars. High-grade certified examples in top mint state conditions have sold at auction for several $100s, depending on appeal and grade. Double die varieties in strong condition have sold in the range of hundreds to over $1,000 depending on severity and grade. Major mint errors such as dramatic off-center strikes or significant clipped planchets have sold from over $100 to several $1,000s depending on visual impact and preservation. And the legendary 1974 aluminum Lincoln cent, when offered and legally transferable, has been valued in the hundreds of thousands of dollars, with reported auction discussions reaching into the $1 million range. Although legal ownership has complicated open market sales, that is the power of rarity, condition, and story. But here is the most important message for every collector watching. Do not assume every 1974 no mint mark penny is rare. Knowledge is your greatest tool. Learn the differences. Study genuine double dies. Understand weight specifications. Pay attention to surface quality and strike detail. The beauty of coin collecting is that treasure hunting is real, but it requires patience and education. Somewhere out there, rare varieties still hide in collections and old rolls. Every time you look through change, you are participating in a tradition that has excited collectors for generations, and that's what makes this hobby so powerful. A simple 1-cent coin can carry history, economic change, mint experimentation, and the thrill of discovery all in one small copper disc. So next time you see a 1974 Lincoln cent with no mint mark, don't ignore it. Pick it up. Turn it over. Examine it carefully. Because while most are ordinary, a rare variety or extraordinary condition coin could be worth far more than 1 cent. Stay curious. Keep searching. And remember, in the world of coin collecting, even the smallest details can lead to the biggest discoveries.